in the study of weight loss, metabolism is the most misunderstood, misused word ever in weight loss. And we blame metabolism, we praise metabolism, we crave metabolism. We envy people who, quote, have high metabolism. Everyone has metabolism, because it is the working of every organ in your body. It is the breakdown of every single thing you eat, and it is the rebuilding of every cellular function that you have in your body. So everything that happens is considered metabolism. So we can say a metabolic pathway. That's metabolism. Metabolic pathway is, we say, okay, you're going to eat protein. Protein has amino acids. Those amino acids, you have to have 9 essential. Then you have certain number of co-essential. Then you have some that your body automatically makes until you have the total of 22. Well, those 22 are like the alphabet. They are going to be parts of them. If it's an incomplete protein, like some plants are or some seeds are, yet you have complete proteins, which is eggs or soybeans or what's the other one? Those are the most popular. But so a complete protein has all of the, quote, essential amino acids you need to then create every cell in the body. So it has to break it down, and that's called the catabolic phase. Cat meaning catastrophe, because it's breaking it apart. Or you have the anabolic phase. So it breaks it down, then it reassembles it using enzymes for the function of the cell's needs. So I'm going to share my screen here. Where did you go? Okay, let me move this here. All right, so metabolism, really all it is, the only thing it amounts to is the conversion of energy. Either you're breaking down energy or you're creating new. So breaking down is the catabolic, like chewing your food. We always say, and some people have misinterpreted this to create a huge $1 million business by saying, when you eat bread, it is, 100% gluten. Therefore, it turns into fat in your stomach. Well, what happens is when you mill your own wheat and you make your own bread, the longer you chew that bread, not counting how much honey you put in, it doesn't matter. Even if you have no honey or no sweetener in that bread and you keep chewing it long enough, it will turn sweet because you have finally broken it down to where the glucose has been released and you can start to taste it in your food. Now, typically, which is another reason why metabolism might seem slower in some people, is because they don't chew their food enough. And so the body has to work extra hard to create that catabolic state and then the anabolic state. So you chew your food, you break it down, and that's what starts to release all of the different vitamins and minerals and essential amino acids, all of those nutrients. They break down, they break apart. Then those nutrients go through a very healthy digestive system. They get reabsorbed by the different organ systems. And then they are put together with other ingredients, we'll just say for ease, and they are then used for a certain function. Bread does not just go to your heart and create love. I mean, it just doesn't happen that way. Everything has to break down and then reassemble the way God designed it. So it's a very beautiful system when you understand. We don't just go and pick an amino acid off the tree and our liver says, no, I needed the other one. I needed the lysine, not the lycopene. I need, from the tomato. I needed, we don't have to know that. God says, just look at this food I've given you. Don't worry about what's in it. We also teach in the Treasures of Healthy Living that there are unknown food factors. There are food factors in real food that we still are not able to identify, yet they have a cofactor effect. They have kind of an exponential effect. In vitamin C, we call it bioflavonoids. So if you eat an orange, you're going to get the vitamin C, plus you're going to get other nutrient factors, phytonutrients, which we call plant nutrients, that make that vitamin C work 10 times better than just taking a vitamin C supplement. So we always say if you buy a vitamin C, make sure it has the word bioflavonoids, which means they take everything from the orange, put it into the vitamin C so that it can work appropriately. So this is what catabolic and anabolic is all about. It's the breaking down, and then the anabolic is the reassembling in a way that each organ can use it. This is really all metabolism is. This is the metabolic pathway. So it looks different. There's a different chemical outline for it for every single nutrient and every single function in the body. Now, like I said, all organs participate in metabolism. Now, most people want to say, well, I just have a really low metabolism. And they'll say, well, that girl eats everything in the cabinet and then some and never gains weight. So we say, oh, she has a high metabolism. That's really not the right question. So the right question is really more is how healthy is a person's metabolism or their metabolic process. So what creates the best, the most efficient metabolic process? When these are working efficiently, the catabolic process, if you're eating real food, the catabolic process is going to work very efficiently. Then your body's going to bring these nutrients in. If your digestive system is working well, it's going to reassemble and you're going to have energy. So when the anabolic stage happens, it creates energy. And that's what we're all looking for. We're looking for energy. We're looking for alertness, and we're looking to just feel good with the foods that we've consumed. Now, we've also talked a couple of different times about enzymes. Enzymes are what pull it back together. They're like if you had a puzzle piece and it had, the different insides, like I guess you could call it male and female sides on all four sides. The enzyme is what helps it fit into that piece, that puzzle piece. And so the enzymes are what bring it together. Enzymes also help with the catabolic phase. They help break it apart. So they'll help break apart, A, break apart B, and then create C. And so enzymes. So when people are deficient, when they're lacking enzymes, many times they cannot break down their food and they cannot reassemble their foods. Therefore, they have a hard time losing weight and they gain weight quickly because they're not digesting their food well and they're not breaking it down and reassembling it. So enzymes are very key to your metabolism. This is why some people, when they start on an enzyme supplement, start to lose weight. They say, well, I take this enzyme and I'm feeling satisfied sooner and I'm not hungry as often because the food is now doing what it was supposed to do. It's creating that satisfied, it's satisfying the needs of every organ system in your body. When we don't have adequate enzymes in our body, we are not able to assemble the nutritional value that each system needs. Therefore, we're still craving food. We're still not getting the satisfied signals. A lot is going on. So secondary processes that improve metabolic function. That's going to be number one is sleep. We really need our sleep. Now, I cannot tell you how many hours you personally need to function. You might already have discovered that. I have many friends that run on 4 to 5 hours of sleep. And to me, I would just be exhausted on 4 to 5 hours of sleep. I like my 8 hours. I don't know why, but that just really works for me. And I do well with that. I don't mind going to bed early and getting up early when it's still dark and feeling like I'm getting just kind of a quiet time to myself before the world wakes up, but I need my 8 hours. We need effective sleep. We need good, deep sleep. We need REM sleep. We need dreams. So that means we're having good sleep. We need to exercise, and the HIIT workouts, high intensity training workouts, are very good for that because they're kind of a burst. You work really hard for 20 seconds. You pause for 20 seconds. Give it everything you have for 20 seconds. This interval exercise has improved metabolic processes faster than just doing steady exercise. Now, steady exercise, if you're going for a walk for a couple miles, that's still good exercise and that's still beneficial to the body. But if you only have a short amount of time, then doing the exercise, the HIIT workouts is very good for improving your metabolic function. So when I say metabolic function, I mean every system in your body is going to be able to break down and reassemble faster when it's in a very healthy state. When it's in a sick state, like you have illnesses, you have a poor immune function, then it's going to interfere with the metabolic function. So, fresh foods, because as I just shared, they have enzymes in them. Real foods are always going to be processed better and more efficiently than anything that is synthetic or processed. Chemicals, your body gets confused and doesn't know how to handle them, and they become xenobiotics or xenoestrogens. So, we'll talk about that on the next slide. When you eat fake foods, lab experiments, you are then contributing to a very hindered metabolic process. And that could be any system of your body. It could be your skin could show it. Your energy level could show it. Your digestive system could be very slow in digesting. Your muscles could look, not be toned. A lot of things are affected by synthetics. Fasting also helps to improve metabolic function. Now, we talked about this previously on some of the other fasting talks, but intermittent fasting has proved to be very sufficient, very helpful for improving metabolism of nutrients. Just really what you're doing is fasting is improving your liver, kidney, gallbladder, and digestive health. And when they are in their top performing mode, everything works better. You're going to metabolize foods quicker. You're going to get the energy to the cells sooner. Therefore, you're going to have the energy to sustain yourself throughout the day. You're not going to be just sitting around craving foods. And lastly, on this page is Epsom salt baths. Actually, they are very beneficial. You don't have to do it every night. And it's just maybe 20, 30 minutes and as hot a water as you can comfortably tolerate. If it's too hot, some people can get dizzy if they get dehydrated. So you don't want to do that. And you always have a cup of water next to you at the bathtub. But Epsom salt baths before bedtime, you could add a couple of drops of lavender in there to truly relax. It's going to greatly help your sleep. It's going to relieve aches and pains. It's going to help relieve inflammation. And the Epsom salt is a form of magnesium that is only absorbed through the skin. It's not the same magnesium that we would take in a supplement form. So it's a different form of magnesium, and it is only good for being absorbed. And it's extremely helpful for everyone. Like I said, but have a glass of water by the bathtub, drink that while you're in the bathtub. If you have heart issues, make sure someone's around in case you get dizzy trying to get out of the bathtub. Usually that happens mostly if the water is too hot. So just kind of be careful about that. All right. So here is what hinders metabolism. This is what causes it to become what we call sluggish or slow. Medications is number one. So I am not ever going to say to stop your medications, but I am going to say if you're on medications, then you have to be very aware of the first page. You have to be very aware of this process here. All 5 of these are going to be very important to you. You're going to need to make sure you're getting good sleep, make sure you're exercising every day. Exercise helps to get rid of the after effects of medications. It's impossible to think that you take a medication and there's no side effect. There's always a side effect because medications are created to interrupt a process. Therefore, you don't have pain, or therefore you don't have a heart attack. So there's reasons for medications, but they interrupt a process. There's always an after effect of that because something did not happen naturally like it should. So when we exercise, we help to get rid of the side effects of medications. Sometimes when people are in cancer treatment and they have chemo or they have radiation, I always kind of use the analogy of fireworks. If you've ever had a crazy family like mine and shot a ton of fireworks in the backyard, and you think, oh, no big deal. The next morning you go out and your yard is just littered with trash, just tons of ash and paper and cardboard, just all this trash. And the first time we did it, I was like, what is all this? And even though you think it burned up in the sky, it didn't. It just dropped all of the pieces of the fireworks in your yard. So we spent almost all day cleaning up our yard. And so that's the same with medications. There is litter that comes with medications. So exercise helps to quicken the cleanup of medications. It doesn't hinder the effect of the medication. So you still get the effect. And then many times you'll get a better effect from the medication. So you might even need less, but you always work with your doctor about that. Fresh foods is a must. So if you're on medications, we really have to pay more attention to these issues and these bonuses for your body. So medications is the number one thing that interrupts metabolism. And a prime example of this is when people are on prednisone and they get the moon face because it interrupts the pathway of the toxins being removed from the body. So that's just an easy example to refer to. Okay, then we have xenoestrogens. And I talk about this in the Treasures of Healthy Living Bible Study and the Nutrition Manual. Xenoestrogens, xenobiotics. Xeno is a word that means strange or foreign or unknown. So what we're talking about is things that are basically lab experiments is how I kind of always, refer to them. Anything that's been made in a lab. And now a xenoestrogen is a foreign material that is acting like an estrogen. You can also have xenobiotics. So xeno meaning foreign, bio meaning life. So it's a foreign toxin that's interfering with life processes in your body. So that's going to be toxic chemicals. It could be makeup if you're not choosing from a good company. It could be polish. I posted on Facebook that I've now gone 1 year without nail polish on my toes. And I used to always do my toes for my trips or during the summer, but I decided, I'm just going to go ahead and just show my ugly toenails, just plain old natural toenails and no polish. So I have gone 1 full year. So I'm quite proud of that. Hair dye is a xenoestrogen, lotions, and anything in the environment that could affect you. So these two are the top 2 things that can interfere with metabolism. GMO foods, they highly contribute to thyroid issues and hormonal issues. Well, both your thyroid and your hormone are a metabolic pathway. So hormones are the communication of every system in your body, which is why we have mood swings, which is why we have sad days, which is why, we have grumpy days. It's the moods are connected to our hormones, connected to our ovaries, connected to, our adrenal glands. It's all connected. It's all communicating. But when we have GMO foods, it's interfering with that communication. It's interfering with that metabolic pathway. So we have to be very careful about what foods we eat. Now, going into Thanksgiving, for those of you here in America, just pay attention to the Clean 15, which foods you need to buy organic and which foods you don't have to pay attention to. Be careful of your strawberries, but yet blueberries are okay. Be careful of, actually cranberries are safe. So you don't have to spend the money on organic cranberries. All right. So toxic thoughts. You may think, well, what does that have to do with the metabolic pathway? What you think totally affects the wiring in your brain, the synapses in your brain, and the connecting with your digestive system. So, when we think horrible of ourselves, we think, wow, I'm so fat, I'm so ugly, no one loves me. Those thoughts interfere with your digestion. Your digestion interferes with your metabolic processes. So never think your thoughts don't matter. They matter greatly. Fried foods, that's creating inflammation. It stores more toxins in the fat and especially the brain. And too little food. We need food because food gives us the enzymes. Food gives us the catabolic phase. It gives us the anabolic phase. We need food because when I talked about proteins and they have 9 essential amino acids, meaning it takes 22 amino acids. It's kind of like the alphabet, like I described in either the Bible study or the nutrition manual. 22 amino acids to have available to make every cell in our body. Every cell in our body doesn't require 22, but it's like the alphabet. I don't need all 26 letters to make one word, but I do need the availability of all 26 letters to pull from to make words. Same thing with your amino acids. So if we aren't eating enough, we could be starving different cells in our body, therefore lacking in energy in different areas. So we don't want to be starving ourselves. All right, so there are a few things out there, what works for some people. Sometimes green tea has been promoted as helping with metabolism. There's other essential oils. There's other essential foods. There's some extracts that they do work for some people for metabolism. I just say for some people sometimes because not everything has been proven scientifically, but to be quite honest, I don't need a scientist to tell me if something's good or not. If I do well with green tea, then that means I do well with green tea. I don't need a science to tell me that. All right. All right. I hope you have picked up a couple things tonight that you have learned from or just been encouraged because you're already doing so well in what the choices that you're making. Keep track of what you're thinking and don't let any thought not be in agreement with God's word. Any thought that takes away from the greatness of what God is doing in your life is contrary to scripture and does not belong in our thoughts. And it will interfere with it will interfere with what God is trying to do in your life. So thoughts are so incredibly important. They manage everything. They'll manage your fasting, your eating, your praise, everything.